Hey there, my fishing friends. Your favorite fishing blogger and conditions expert is back with another forecast, and today we are diving deep into what awaits us on the water on the 18th of November 2025 across beautiful New Zealand. Will it be a day for the record books, or one where we need to work a little harder for those bites? Stick around, because this forecast has some intriguing twists and turns that might just surprise you and help you land that dream catch. This particular Tuesday is shaping up to be quite a dynamic day for anglers, blending pleasant warming conditions with a hint of challenge. We're looking at generally mild temperatures across the country, but keep an eye on the skies, especially in certain regions, as some rain is on the forecast. This mix can trigger some incredible feeding frenzies, especially as fish prepare for their spawning season. So let's gear up and get into the specifics. First up, for those targeting trout, both rainbow and brown, you are in for a treat, my friends. November truly marks the beginning of the warm weather fishing season for trout, and they are highly active, keying into the explosion of insect life. Where to search? In rivers and streams, look for them in riffles, seams, and around structure where food washes down. For lake fishing, trout will be moving closer to the surface with the warming water, so casting and spinning near the shorelines of larger lakes will be highly effective. What to use? This is prime time for dry fly hatches, particularly in the evening. Think caddis and mayfly patterns. During the day, nymphing with weighted patterns can still pull fish from deeper pockets. For spinning, smaller lures that imitate baitfish or insects, like a 2.5-inch bait junkie minnow or a Chinook spoon, will work wonders. Next, for our saltwater enthusiasts, the pre-snapper and Kingfish are absolutely on fire. With the water warming, their activity is really ramping up, and November is one of the best times to target them. Where to search? For snapper, target them in places like Kowal Bay, over rich worm beds, and throughout the Firth of Thames, especially in depths between 10 and 20 meters. Keep an eye out for workups, those incredible feeding frenzies indicated by diving gannets, splashing dolphins, or even whales. That's where the snapper will be feasting voraciously on baitfish. Kingfish will be around pins and marker buoys, and definitely wherever you see bait schools congregating. What to use? For snapper, soft baiting with natural colors mimicking anchovies or pilchard patterns will be incredibly effective. Don't forget slow jigs or micro jigs in the 20 to 60 gram range. If you're a bait fisher, pilchard, squid, or bonito cubes will do the trick. A little trick: match your lure size to the smaller bait fish. Think 3 to 4 inch soft baits or 15 to 25 gram micro jigs. It dramatically increases your hookups during workups. For kingfish, casting stick baits or mechanical jigging can be incredibly effective, especially when the tide is running. A fresh butterfly jack mackerel or a live one can also put you in good stead for hooking into a spring monster. Now, let's break down the conditions so you understand why the fish are behaving this way. Weather. For Tuesday, the 18th of November 2025, we're looking at generally mild conditions across New Zealand. Daytime temperatures will hover around 20 to 22 degrees Celsius, 71 to 72 degrees Fahrenheit, with overnight lows dipping to about 15 to 17 degrees Celsius, 59 to 63 degrees Fahrenheit. While the general forecast for the country indicates zero precipitation, keep an eye on local forecasts, particularly for Tauranga, where rain with heavy falls is expected from the afternoon. Wind will be predominantly northeasterly, easing at night. A stable atmospheric pressure, even with some rain, can often be a good trigger for fish to feed actively before or during a frontal system. Water temperature. The water is definitely warming up across New Zealand. Sea temperatures in coastal areas like Auckland and Tauranga will average around 16 to 18 degrees Celsius, 60 to 64 degrees Fahrenheit, with Wellington slightly cooler at about 14 degrees Celsius, 58 degrees Fahrenheit. In the South Island, coastal waters will also be around 14 degrees Celsius. This warming trend is a crucial factor, as it signals to the fish that it's time to become more active, moving closer to the surface and increasing their feeding. Moon phase. On November 18th, 2025, we have a waning crescent moon, with only about 3% of its surface illuminated. We are just a couple of days away from the new moon. Traditionally, a waning crescent phase can be a tougher time to fish, with shorter bite windows. However, from my experience, while the bite might not last all day, when it happens, it can be incredibly intense. The key is to be on the water at those peak times, dawn and dusk, and right on the tide changes. Many anglers believe that the darker moon phases can lead to more aggressive feeding, as fish rely less on moonlight for hunting. General fish activity. Overall, the biological activity of fish in New Zealand during mid-November is high. It's a busy time as fish prepare for spawning, meaning they are actively feeding to build up condition. This makes species like snapper, kingfish, and kahawai very active in saltwater, often chasing bait fish in frenzied workups. Freshwater trout, especially brown, and rainbow are also highly active, keyed into the explosion of insect life. Considering all these factors, my friends, I'm going to give the overall bite assessment for Tuesday, the 18th of November 2025, as good to excellent. The warming water, increased insect activity, and the pre-spawning feeding urges of many species create fantastic opportunities. While the waning crescent moon might suggest shorter bite windows, be prepared for intense action during those periods. The potential for rain, particularly in the afternoon in some areas, could also trigger a pre-front bite, so don't let a few drops deter you. Focus on those key feeding times, match your baits to the available food sources, and you could be in for some truly memorable fishing. Well, that wraps up our forecast for the 18th of November. I really hope this helps you plan your next fishing adventure. Remember, every day on the water is a good day, but with a little preparation, it can be an epic one. So from me to you, tight lines and nippers for your catch. Don't forget to hit that like button if you found this forecast helpful, subscribe to the channel for more expert tips and predictions, and ring that notification bell so you never miss out. And tell me in the comments below, what are your go-to spots in New Zealand during November? What's your favorite technique for catching those spring fish? Share your stories and let's build this amazing fishing community together. Catch you next time.